The COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent lockdowns forced fashion labels to rethink their communication strategies. Unable to put on catwalk shows, they produced fashion films instead. And it seems the genre is here to stay, most recently featuring in the Lyon Fashion Film Festival, now on its second year. The festival is organised and financed by the Lyon 2 University, a state-funded institution, and it's open to fashion schools, cinema schools, and to labels.
If you're a designer, it's about sharing your label's DNA, a DNA that carries the label's values. Beyond that, it's about emotions, but always while staying within that values-led framework. If you're producing an art film or a student film, your mission is to find ways to make people see how fashion as a phenomenon has consequences for the environment, which is wholly about economics too. So what we have here are a number of films that are actually very critical of the fashion industry. They're focused on ecology, sexism, power dynamics between different social groups and classes. It's basically everything, as long as there's some meaning there. They're films that have a specific message to put across.
The winner of the 2022 Designers Prize is Rémy Perrier, who honed his trade in Paris but is now back in his native Lyon.
Everyone's character is formed by our family identity, our private sense of self. Our brand is called Nycto, from nyctophile, which is a word to describe people who like the nighttime. And that's a really big part of who I am. It's my childhood. It's about being locked in my room, but out of choice, being able to discover my sexuality, my identity, what made me feel comfortable. And I got there by experimenting with clothes, with disguises, with transvestism sometimes. Because clothes are a part of identity, they're a path to revelation to some people, including the jury, so I'm delighted.
Fashion films are a hybrid art form, fusing the codes of cinema, music videos and advertising. The jury judging them needed to reflect that.
This generation is really politically engaged. They care about the climate. They want to make sure we're not destroying the planet. They're into recycling. And they ask questions like, what is fashion? What are clothes? What relationship does fashion have with the questions it's asking? It's amazing how the students have taken on these fundamental questions that the world of fashion is going to have to confront. They're great levers for change because what they attest to, what you need to understand, is that we're heading into a better world. These young people are going to embody that. They know how to express themselves too. I really have confidence in them. For me, they represent the future of fashion. Often when you see a fashion film, you're impressed, dazzled by the beautiful clothes. But for me, when there's also some real emotion there, a message behind it all, where you see something and feel something else. I'm thinking specifically of the film that won the Student Prize, which really moved me. For me, that's something that's really interesting.
The theme for this year's festival, Space and Spaces. The collective 16h25, or 4:25 p.m. in English, had an elegant response.
It's a film that really tackles the question of death. The theme of death is extremely hard to approach in literature and cinema. And in this context, I thought it was perfect. The young women told me that they were afraid they wouldn't be understood, but actually, we all understood it. I think they put forward some really insightful work. The film, entitled Programmé, or Programmed in English, is about the mourning process and makes a symbolic parallel between the short cycles of fast fashion and the long process of grief. It's a reference to washing machines. It's a nod to the programmed obsolescence of clothes, because fast fashion is about an extremely quick turnaround. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. All the clothes we wear are programmed to be destroyed in a way, because they won't be on trend for long. That's the meaning. There's also the idea that with fast fashion, we're also programmed to follow fashion. In doing so, we lose a part of our personalities. It's a reference to all of those things. We wanted to produce a big metaphor with a story that anyone can recognize themselves in. Just like a love story. It's about different emotions, and we hope that the viewer would watch it and see themselves within the narrative. The idea was to offer a discreet message about fast fashion, that manipulative side of things. Everyone can watch it and have a moment of self-reflection, a realization that they can see themselves in the story they might not otherwise have had. This film might help open people's eyes.
Make way then for a new generation of fashion filmmakers who aren't afraid to look at the world and the industry with new eyes.